Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be tackling another Transformed Wife blog. So stay tuned for the insanity to ensue. Alright guys, apparently I'm a glutton for punishment because I'm back with another Lori Alexander, aka the Transformed Wife blog. I don't know. Apparently I'm a glutton for punishment. We're going to be covering the Yes, You Can Live on One Income by Lori Alexander. She posted this on October the 14th of 2019. And I'm just going to pull out all of my hair, probably run away screaming, but let's get into this. She starts out with, many women try to convince me that it's simply impossible for women to be keepers at home due to the cost of living these days. Every family needs two incomes, they proclaim. It is not that they proclaim it. It's an actual fact, Lori. It's been a fact for several years. My mother was actually a stay-at-home mother, but my mother has even stated that if I was a child now, she would have had to find some way to work, and my mom was disabled. That was the reason why she was a stay-at-home mom. But let's look into what she says. So in this first paragraph of the blog, she references a video that's on YouTube. It's called The Homemaker's Biggest Obligation, and it's by Lindsay Harold. I'll have it linked in the description box down below. But I watched it. It's like 4 or 5 minutes long. I lost that 4 or 5 minutes of my life because there's really nothing in there that you can glean. It's supposed to be about being frugal, but really all she talks about is like, making food and like making sure your house is clean and things of that nature. You don't really glean any information from it. So, okay. Lori states the biggest barrier to women staying home is finances. And this is very true. So, she said that a lot of people are looking at the current expenses as a two-income family, and they could never afford to pay the bills if they suddenly lost a wife's income. But she states that this is a short-sighted view. Okay. Family expenses can also drop when the wife comes home, not just the income. Okay, let's try to figure out what the hell Lori's talking about. She says if a wife stays at home, she can cook from scratch rather than eating out, getting takeout, or relying on boxed meals. Okay, let's look at this for a second. I'm just going to take me, for instance, alright? The only I work 3 different shifts. My shift changes every 3 months. So I work either the 7 to 3 shift, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift, the 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. shift, or the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. Currently, I'm on the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. I can get up in the afternoons and cook dinner for my family if I'm on said 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. I can go to bed earlier in the morning, get up, cook, go back to sleep, and then just take whatever's left over from my family eating for me to eat that night. Also, on my days off, I always cook, but I do cook from scratch. So, okay, we don't always rely on takeout. The only shift that I don't cook for my family on is when I'm working the 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. shift. Because I go to work before my son even gets home from school or my husband gets off from work. But my husband can cook. Problem solved. So yes, that is a thing. Okay? She says this saves a ton of money. This is true. When she's at home, they don't have the expense of a commute / gas money, trains or bus fare, her work clothes, a second car possibly with payment, and all the expenses and upkeep, maintenance, insurance, smog checks, childcare, and so on. Okay, so let's tackle this one. Even if she stays at home, she does need a car at home. Say there is a problem with the child. The child needs to go to the doctor. She needs to go to the doctor. How does she go grocery shopping without a vehicle? How does she do any of the errands for the family without a vehicle? So there's still going to be the expenses of said vehicle for the errands for the home. Okay, childcare. I have a 14-year-old. I don't have childcare. Also, my job, I wear a uniform to work, so I do not incur any clothing cost. My job provides me with uniforms once to twice a year, so I don't incur any clothing cost for work. So most of that point you can knock out. And then it takes money to make money, they also say, so the expense involved in keeping that job is taken into consideration in order to make an accurate assessment. In addition, the company pays taxes on that second income. Those taxes are an expense that reduces their net income. In fact, a second income often puts the family into a higher tax bracket, so this can have a big effect. If they had only one income, they would pay a lot less in taxes. So this is another expense that must be considered. I don't even want to touch that one right now, to tell you the truth. Okay, whatever. If the wife stays at home, they not only eliminate those expenses from her job, but she can also save money by finding ways to be more frugal. I would suggest trying to downsize a car, home, cable TV, and cell phone plans, for example. So not only are you getting rid of the vehicle, you're telling them to move, cut out their cable, and get rid of the cell phone. Okay. Let's take all these into consideration. Again, like I stated before, car is actually a needed expense, especially if you live like in a small town like I do. Cabs are not always accessible, but when they are, they can be quite expensive. You want me to downsize my house? Okay. So I can go from living into we pay more in rent because we live in a safer neighborhood. So you want me to go from living in a safer neighborhood to living in a less safer neighborhood in a smaller area to pay less in rent. Also, you want us to cut out our cable TV so that when we are, with us being at home all day long, because I will be at home all day long, I have nothing to do after I get finished cleaning the house for the billionth time in a row. Okay. People do not have home phones anymore. And a home phone, in some instances, I know especially around here, because nobody has home phones, most houses in this area do not have pre-installed home phone jacks because people got rid of their home phones several years ago. So most of the home phone jacks have been taken out of homes. So the installation cost is a lot higher because they have to come in and install all the jacks for the home phone. So that makes that cost a little bit higher. So instead of having a cell phone that's more convenient, I have to pay a higher installation cost to get a home phone so that, if said something happens in the home and I do need, 911 services or things of that nature, I can get a hold of someone. No. Okay. there are a lot of ways we often don't realize that we are spending money unnecessarily because everybody does it that way. We tend to spend what we have and adjust our lifestyles to our income. We don't look for ways to save if we have the money to cover our lifestyle as it is. That I can say is a thing. Like when you have the money, you tend to spend it. You don't really think about it. So that I can actually agree with, whatever. She says reevaluating the budget is often painful at first and nobody likes to cut their favorite luxuries and might even tell themselves it's not a luxury but a necessity. But like we've kind of covered, some of those things actually are a necessity. If you're needing to get to a doctor's appointment, you're needing to get to the grocery store because you don't have food, or you're needing to get things for the house or for your family, those things, sorry guys, those things turn out to be kind of necessities. If you have one car and your husband has the car at work, what are you to do? Twiddle your thumbs all day long, and then he's wondering why you didn't get anything done at home all day long. Okay. Let's see here. For families interested in having the wife come home, the first step is to evaluate your current spending and see what expenses and taxes are associated with the wife's job. If you consider those expenses and you have a better picture of your net income, blah, 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 blah. It's just stupid. Here we go. On top of this, it's important to evaluate how much you can save if the wife has time at home to do a lot of things for her own family, including cooking, shopping, sales, coupon clipping, making her own items such as laundry soap, yogurt, clothing, food from a garden, or whatever else she can learn to do, home decor, cleaning, and anything else you currently outsource. Okay. We don't outsource our cleaning. Me and my husband and my son all clean our house. My son has chores that chip in on the house. I do all the laundry and stuff. My husband helps out with some of the cleaning here and there. Now, as far as it comes to like laundry soap and stuff, we have like some sensitive allergies to laundry soaps. So making our own laundry soap is not going to be something that happens. We found a laundry soap that works for us so we don't break out in hives and like scratch and claw at ourselves. So we're going to kind of stick with that. Thank you. Now, you wanted us to move out of our nice, safe neighborhood in a house that fits well with our family into a smaller house in a more dangerous neighborhood, and now you want me to dig up my backyard and plant a garden so that I can cut my food cost. Well, when said criminal is running from said cops in my not nice and safe neighborhood, and they're hopping fences and jumping and running through my yard, guess what's going to get trampled? Oh yeah, said garden. So there goes my nice gardening activity to save money. And then you say, make my own clothes. And then you say home decor. But we don't have any extra money now because I don't have a job anymore. So I'm going to be far less inclined to decorate my home because I'm going to be too worried about making sure that I have a home and food than I am on making sure that the house looks pretty. Then Lori goes on to say, if your budget is still short after considering all of these factors, then it is time to start thinking about making money from home. There are lots of options out there. A wife at home can make crafts and sell them on sites like eBay or Etsy. She could work for a company out of her home. Things like medical billing, for example, can be done from home. She could start her own business. She could buy and resell wholesale items. She could do online tutoring. She could provide childcare out of her home We need not be bound by the typical career of a 9-to-5 job outside of the home. If I have to work from home while still working at home, why don't I just keep my goddamn job? Why don't I just keep my job and then I don't have to do all this extra bullshit like making my own laundry soap and gardening and all this other bullshit, and just keep my job so that we don't have to do all this extra shit. We can stay in our fucking house and we don't have to do all this other bullshit so that we don't have problems with our budget. That's just an idea there. Then she says, if you're willing to do the work as a couple, there is almost always a way to survive and even thrive on one income. No, if you're willing to do the work as a couple, there's always a way to survive and thrive as a 2-income family. If both partners work outside of the home, then both partners have to work inside of the home. That is what is wrong with these religious fundamentalists. The men are put up on a pedestal, and they are made to think that they are gods, and that they don't have to do anything, and that the women have to stay at home and bow down at their fucking feet. And that is the problem. They don't have to do a damn thing. If your wife and you work outside of the home, then guess what? You both work inside of the home too. If you're both working 8+ hours outside of the home, then it takes both of you to work inside of the home and keep the house clean and keep the laundry done and get the food cooked and everything else. It takes 2. This is the most ridiculous bullshit I've ever heard in my life. She then goes on to quote this person named Terry Starnes. Another thing I would like to add, if your priority is to stay at home with your children, you will have to be able to make sacrifices. You may have to move to a more affordable state or neighborhood so that you are not house poor. Renting may be cheaper than owning. Be willing to stay home and not take the car out unless it is necessary. Eat less meat or eat meat less often, and opt for other options of protein such as dried beans. Cook from scratch and cut out cable TV. These are just a few ways to cut back and live on one income. If you truly desire to be home with your family, you will be willing to do whatever it takes. You cannot have the same lifestyle you enjoyed on 2 income. Sacrifices have to be made. Again, now you want people to move to different states. Guess what? I don't like the state I live in. I actually hate the state I live in. I live in the state that I live in because my family's here. I'm 20 minutes away from my parents. I have other family here. My husband, he has family here. We're like 15 minutes from his sister. We're like 25 minutes from his mom. That's the reason why we're here. If I had no ties in this state, I wouldn't be here. But because you are preaching that women should be at home, you're like, fuck family. If you're going to be at home, then choose a cheaper state to live in. You know, don't drive your car unless it's absolutely necessary. You know, don't eat meat. You know, choose different, things that are cheaper. Don't have cable TV. You've got to make sacrifices. Why does people have to always make... Why do people always have to make sacrifices when it comes to religion? Why is it always sacrifice-driven? Not done yet. She then quotes this Doug Harold subject. One should also add to the cost of private education, since it is so irresponsible these days to put your children in free government schools. If a mother is at home, she can save the family a great deal of money by homeschooling. Let me explain something to you about homeschooling. I have some experience with that. When my daughter was alive, she was very, very ill. It was close to the end of her life. She was in and out of school all the time. At that point in time, I was a single mother. I was dating my husband, but we weren't married. We weren't living together. My daughter was not able to attend school. Literally, we could go to the hospital. She could be in there for a couple of days. She could be in there for a week. She could be in there for like a month and a half. You never knew. Being a single mom, I couldn't be in two places at once. I couldn't be at the hospital with her. I couldn't be at home taking my son to school. So I homeschooled both of my children. Homeschooling is not cheap. It is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. A homeschool curriculum is expensive. Okay? It is expensive. And I taught my children religious homeschool material. That shit is expensive. I would have to buy it like in sections because I could not afford to buy it all at once. Oh, sorry, bumping the camera here because I'm getting aggravated. Okay. So that's not cutting an expense by any stretch of the imagination. On top of that, you are also isolating your children so they are not getting any social interaction at all. They are home with you, your husband, and their siblings. That's it. They're not getting any social interaction with anybody from the outside world, and that can be damaging. They do not learn how to interact with other people their age. Also, you are not a teacher. You do not know how to pick up on cues that your child might have a learning disability. I knew my son was smart. I just knew he could not read the information on the page. So if I read it to him, he could always answer anything I read him. I could read him his test. He could answer everything. If he read his test, he would fail everything. I did not know he was dyslexic. When me and my husband got married, we put him back in public school. Boom, they tested him. Boom, he's dyslexic. He's got help for it, and he has become like an honor roll student. At one point, he had straight A's. You are not a teacher. Also, homeschooling is not cheap. That is not cutting any cost, and it is not irresponsible. It is not irresponsible to put your child in public schools. You just have to be an involved, active parent, and you have to teach your children how to act. That is the end of this shit show of another Lori Alexander post. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Like I said, in the description box down below, I'm going to have this link to the YouTube video that she references in the beginning. Like I said, it doesn't really say a whole lot. So if you want to waste 5 minutes of your life, be my guest. I'm also going to have the link to this original blog so that you can go back and read word for word if you so desire what Lori had to say. Also, in the description box is going to be my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and email. So if you want to reach out to me and talk to me personally, you can DM me on any of those, send me an email, whatever. You can do all of that if you want to. In the comment section down below, let me know what you think of what Lori is saying in this. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? What do you think people should or should not do? Do you think she should even be saying these kinds of things? And anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell. We are one person away from 100 subscribers, and I am completely blown away. And that is going to do it for me today, guys. I'm going to go and, I don't know. I'm just going to walk away from this, like, slowly back away from this. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today, guys. See you on the next one. Bye.